friends, welcome. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for stopping in. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you as a subby friend. And if you like the video, please give it a big thumbs up. So today's video, I wanted to share with you these acrylic badge reels. And so I want to share these with you because I had been asked to show what do I use the very thin acrylic that I use that I cut with my maker. And I had done a video on cutting acrylic with the maker, and I will put that in the description if you're interested in it. So this is very thin acrylic. It's like 0.20, 0.22, like very, very, very thin. And it's not the kind of acrylic that you can just paint or just put vinyl on and then make a keychain out of. It's too thin for that. It will crack easily. But if you're wanting to do it with epoxy, it's like perfect. And so I had asked to show what do I do with the acrylic that I cut. So that's what I wanted to show you this today. So originally I was gonna make keychains out of these, and then I had someone ask me to make them some badge reels for some of their friends. So this was perfect, so I just went ahead and turned them into badge reels. Now, I'm gonna attach the video of making them, and I'm very sorry. So I do all of my filming on my phone, and you guys know, like, I work a lot. So I do videos, you know, in between work when I have time. And then when the weather is bad, I have been doing my epoxy out on the back porch, and we've had a lot of cold, which made things take a while for me to get finished. So I just recently moved it into the garage, which will be better. But so because these took a little bit of time and I do everything on my phone, you know, sometimes I have to go through and delete out, you know, videos that are done and over with so that I have space. Well, occasionally I will delete a piece of video on accident that I actually need, thinking it's something else. So I have deleted the beginning of this. So I will tell you, so where it's gonna be starting off is, so the acrylic, I just, you know, take it. So the color across here is just paint. I use, you know, whatever color paint that I want to use at the time. I like to use a small fan brush, and then I just paint a stripe across the back of it. So there's that. So the paint is on one side of it. I let that dry. And then on the other side, I used my Cricut and just cut out, you know, a piece of vinyl and what I wanted and put that on the opposite side. So the front side has the vinyl, the back side is where I did the paint stripe. And then, so where it's gonna be starting off is the paint stripe is on it, and so is the vinyl. And then, so I always start with the back, I turn it over, put a little bit of epoxy on the back, and then I do the backs first, and then I turn it over and do the front so that I can dome it. So what is not on the video is taking the plain acrylic, doing a stripe of paint on the back, putting my decal on the front, and then putting a layer of epoxy on the back. Okay, so these are, you know, really fun, and it, you know, they are nice, and that acrylic is normally so thin, and then when you put the epoxy on it, I mean, you can see it's just nice and thick. These are just like super, like just thick, good feeling pieces, but they're not super heavy. So these turn out so beautiful, and I love these. I make, you know, keychains, pop sockets, badge reels with using, you know, the thin acrylic that I cut on my Cricut on a regular basis. So I really like these. All right, so if you'd like to see, you know, these being made, just keep watching, and we'll make these. And again, we're starting, you know, like I said, with those few pieces already done. But I did, you know, want to share because I had been asked, you know, to see some pieces that I have made with that acrylic with epoxy. Okay? All right, listen, I hope you guys have a blessed and beautiful day. And if you like the video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, hit subscribe. Thanks, friends. I'll see you later. Bye. I did my back sides. Not when I touched. So here's my back sides are done. Now these set out a little bit. It rained and it was super cold. So I might end up having to do just a little bit more on my back sides. Just, we'll see how it looks after I do the fronts. But now I like to do these on these raised mats like this because it allows any extra epoxy to just drip down and not go underneath the project. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit of epoxy on here. Now these things are already, just having it on one side, they're already nice and hard. Now I don't want the epoxy to go everywhere, but I have a little bit of bubbles this time because of the weather and the epoxy. So I'm gonna actually, if I have to use my heat gun, I like to do it before I move the epoxy around. That way I'm not, when it's on a project like this, so that I'm not just throwing it everywhere. You know what I mean? So again, I'm just gonna put my epoxy in my center and then move it out. Now I also go around my edges. And I just pick up a little bit of epoxy. All right, so we will let this dry and then we'll go from there. All right, so these have epoxy front and back. And okay, so two things. First of all, I know that I started out with 4 of them and now I have 3. And the unfortunate reason for that is because a lizard ended up on one of them and it was not sweet, and I feel super bad for that poor lizard. There was nothing that I could do about it by the time I found him. And I certainly didn't want to show you guys that because that's not sweet. And then the second thing is I was going to just leave these clear and then, you know, put use my little hand drill and put a hole in them for keychains. But then I had a couple people asking me for badge reels. So I thought, oh, these would make really good badge reels. So I decided that I'm going to do that instead. So I have some epoxy. I'm just going to put some glitter in it. Because of, you know, the badge reels like having a color to them, I don't want to like leave the backs clear. So I'm going to go ahead and put glitter. And then I'll put the badge reels on after. I don't want to put the badge reels on yet because it'll, you know, it might like mush it down, and since it's wet, and then you know, there won't be any color there. It would defeat the purpose. I'm on my raised mat because I'm trying to keep from getting it onto the front. You know what I was thinking would probably work super good for these, and I'm gonna get some, you know, because my daughter uses it's like baby grass for the bottles and stuff, and it's so much higher. Like, I feel like it would work really well. So I was thinking that I would get some and try it. Now I did let my epoxy sit for a few minutes to try and make it a little bit thicker. It probably set for about 10 minutes. And I may find myself like right in the center. I might put a like a hair of glitter, you know, right in the center of these, just to make sure that the badge reel itself doesn't show. Did not mean to do that. Well, that one's definitely going to be dark enough. All right, so we'll let these dry and then come back and see how they look. All right, so here are these guys here. So this is the acrylic that I cut with the maker, the very thin acrylic, and I put epoxy on it. You can see that it gives it a nice thick look. It's nice and hard and thick. It's not cracking or anything. Then I did the glitter on the back, since I'm going to make these into badge reels. And I have my badge reel. And those So those will be very cute. And so the bag reels are from the Dollar Tree. You get 3 in a pack, and they are, well, when I bought them, they were $1. Now they're $1.25. It's going to take me a while to be okay with that. You know, it's funny. I went to the Dollar Tree today, and where I would normally like buy all kinds of stuff to put in my craft bin, I was just much more thoughtful, you know, on what I bought. All right, so I've got some epoxy, and I let it get, you know, kind of thick.